Hi friends, in this session we will deal with minerals, introduction and classification. Minerals are inorganic elements. They are essential nutrients. Essential means these substances needs to be supplied through the diet. We cannot synthesize nutrients by our own. Minerals are not changed by digestion or metabolism. Means that as in the case of macronutrients like carbohydrates or fats, these elements are not digested to simpler molecules or does not undergo any major changes during metabolism. Mineral elements constitute only a small proportion of the body weight. A wide variation in their body content is also there. For instance, calcium 2% of the body weight, whereas cobalt 0.00004 percentage of body weight. Now we will see the general functions of minerals. Minerals are essential for the formation of bone and teeth. It is also there involved in blood coagulation process. It is essential for acid-base equilibrium. It is essential for maintenance of fluid balance and osmotic regulation. And minerals are very essential for neuromuscular activity. We can see some details of the general functions of minerals. Some minerals have structural functions like calcium and phosphorus are part of bone. Sulfur is present in keratin. Keratin is one of a family of fibrous structural protein known as scleroprotein. Alpha keratin is the key structural material making up hair, nails, horns, etc. Keratin also protects epithelial cells from damage or stress. Calcium is involved in blood clotting, more precisely for the activation of blood clotting factor 10. Blood clotting involves different types of blood clotting factors. They are usually found in an inactive form or zymogen form. They will get activated at the time of requirement. For the activation of clotting factor 10, calcium is required. Another important function of minerals like sodium, potassium, and chloride are the maintenance of acid-base balance and water balance. Blood need the right balance of acidic and basic compounds to function properly. This is called acid-base balance. Acid-base homeostasis is the homeostatic regulation of the pH of the body's extracellular fluid. Kidney and lung work to maintain the acid-base balance. Another important function is the important role of minerals in nerve and muscle function. Calcium, sodium, and potassium are involved in the nerve impulse transmission and muscular activity. Similarly, some minerals which participate in enzymes, which works with enzyme in metabolic processes. They are known as the cofactors. Cofactors are essential components for an enzymatic activity. Different types of minerals like magnesium, manganese, copper, zinc, potassium, etc. can act as the cofactors of various enzymes which are involved in the metabolic process. Some minerals have unique functions like they are integral components of biologically important compounds. Say for example, iron is present in hemoglobin. Iodine is present in thyroxine. Thyroxine is the thyroid hormone. And zinc is present in insulin. Cobalt is present in cyanocobalamin or vitamin B12. Now we will see how the minerals are classified. They are broadly categorized into principal elements and trace elements or macrominerals and microminerals. Principal elements are also known as macrominerals because these are present in body tissues at a concentration greater than 50 milligram per kilogram body weight. 60 to 80% of the body's inorganic material are macrominerals or principal elements. There are 7 macro minerals like calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium, potassium, chloride, and sulfur. These 7 minerals are known as macro minerals. Their requirement is greater than 100 milligram per kilogram body weight, whereas the trace elements or micro minerals which are present in the body tissue at a concentration of less than 50 milligram per kilogram body weight. Its requirement is also less, like less than 100 milligram per day. Microminerals or trace elements are further classified into essential trace elements, possibly essential trace elements, non-essential trace elements. Essential trace elements are iron, copper, iodine, manganese, zinc, molybdenum, cobalt, fluoride, selenium, and chromium. Whereas possibly essential trace elements include vanadium, cadmium, and barium. Non-essential trace elements include aluminum, lead, mercury, boron, silver, bismuth, etc. Essential trace elements are, even though they are required only in very trace quantity, these are essential for the normal functioning of the body. Now we will see the amount of these minerals present in humans. Say for example, you can see that macro elements and trace elements are there. Macro elements, say for example, calcium, that is 15 gram per kilogram. That is the concentration of calcium present in human beings. Phosphorus 10 gram per kilogram body weight. Potassium 2 gram per kilogram body weight. Sodium 1.6 gram per kilogram body weight. Chloride 1.1 gram. Sulfur 1.5 gram, whereas magnesium 0.4 gram per kilogram body weight. You can see the difference. Trace elements are required only in small quantity and its amount present in the body is also very less, comparatively less. Iron 20 to 50 milligram per kilogram, zinc 10 to 50 milligram per kilogram, copper 1 to 5 milligram per kilogram, molybdenum 1 to 4 milligram per kilogram, selenium 1 to 2 milligram per kilogram. Whereas iodine, manganese and cobalt they require 0.3 to 0.6, 0.2 to 0.5 and cobalt 0.02 to 0.1 milligram per kilogram. Now there is a question, why the deficiency of iron, a trace element, results in anemia? You find out the answer. Next is the bioavailability and regulation of major minerals. Bioavailability is influenced by genetics, aging, nutritional status, and other food compounds. Whereas absorption that happens in small intestine and large intestine, and the regulation of minerals are mainly done by kidneys and small intestine. Next is the minerals in food. These minerals are found in all food groups, more reliably found in animal products. Often other substances in food decreases absorption or bioavailability of minerals like oxalate and phytate. These are present in food also, but this may inhibit the absorption of minerals through the intestine. This oxalate, for example, found in spinach, prevents absorption of most calcium in spinach. Spinach also consists of both calcium and oxalate, but this oxalate prevents the absorption of calcium. Phytate is a storage form of phosphorus in most plants that makes some minerals poorly available. Like phytate can inhibit the absorption of iron, zinc, calcium, etc. So factors affecting the requirements: physiological state, level of production, interactions with other minerals, tissue storage, and form of food. So in which form we are consuming the minerals, that is very important, in inorganic or in organic forms. So deficiencies and excesses. Most minerals have an optimal range. below which leads to deficiency symptoms, and above leads to toxicity symptoms. So there is a normal value for most of these minerals. When these minerals are deficient, that causes deficiency symptoms. When these minerals are consumed in excess quantity, that leads to toxicity. Mineral content of soil dictates mineral status of the plants. That means soil consists of a lot of minerals. Those plants which grows in a mineral rich area may have high content of minerals. See, the symptoms of deficiency or toxicity may take months to develop, and time impacted by body stores. We can see the requirement and toxicities. Take the example of copper. In cattle, the requirement is 5 to 8 milligram per kilogram body weight, but toxicity often observed when its level reaches 115 milligram per kilogram.